What's going on, everyone? My name is Skiz. Welcome to another episode of our Graffiti Freight Train watching series. Again, there's always people asking me to make more episodes of the series. I always promise them I will. Here's another episode for you guys. So I'm gonna get right into it. Just to get an idea, I'll get right into it while I tell you guys a little bit about what this series is all about. Awesome sort of serif font there by Raze. Yeah, so this series is all about looking at all the tags like this, all the throws, all the pieces on these freights. It's going to be hard to get some good views of the pieces from where I am, but got the 7th letter symbol there, that's strange. But yeah, we take a look at the whole 9 yards. The throws, the pieces, the tags, the monikers, all the Markall work. We do a bit of like analysis on it and use it to get inspired a little bit, talk about it, see what's going on in graffiti communities across the continent. So that's what this series is really all about. And here we've got our first major piece here. I assume these are his crews he's writing for. BAD crew, TKO, CMK. That's awesome. Honestly, cracks are underused in lettering. There's probably a lot of little elements that people use in graffiti that are overused and underused, you know? Maybe that's something we could have a little discussion on, you know, in the comments. What are some things you put in your graffiti pieces that are like elements that you think are underused in graffiti or overused? Once I get a little further up, it'll be a little less cramped here. Got a Bobo tag. Gotta love a nice style like that. Some people argue that these sort of like asterisks are a little much. I don't know, I like them. As long as they're adding something to the tag. It's another personal opinion. I obviously don't mind people having other opinions on the matter as well. And even if I did, who am I to say what people should and shouldn't like about graffiti? It's one of the sort of best things about graph. No one can tell you what is and isn't good about it. It's supposed to be the type of thing without rules. But that being said, just because graph is supposed to have no rules, I think a lot of graffiti writers, when they're starting out, get that sort of confused and they take it to mean that you don't really have to pay attention to how you're making your letters, things like that, and that could not be further from the truth. In terms of artistic concepts and all that kind of thing, of course there are rules, right? Like, you have to be able to accept and understand how artistic concepts work if you're gonna make a piece look good. Or not just pieces, but tags, throws. Tag like that. You know, just simple little things like, for instance, with this tag, he or she has made the B look substantial, it's large. The R also substantial and large. Sort of sandwiches the middle letters there. I don't know what kind of mop he did that with, but it looks awesome. Just little things like that help promote a little bit better structure and flow in tags, throws, pieces. And it's things that may seem very simple, but if you don't know them, you're sort of hopeless at making anything look good, or at least it's a lot harder. That's almost like an argument, I would say, as to why the whole graffiti has no rules thing is a little bit bullshit, because there are plenty of like artistic concepts that you do have to pay attention to. Like, there's no way around it, and those are close enough to being rules that they might as well be rules, is I guess how I'm saying that. But on the other hand, to sort of play devil's advocate on my own point here, after I show you a couple things here, just wanted to get down here to show you guys a big Miles tag. As I was saying though, to sort of counter my own point a little bit, I'm not by any means saying that the phrase graffiti has no rules doesn't have some truth to it, but I would say that the truth in that is not related to artistic concepts. Got a nice beast tag there. List. Alfredo. That's a 20. New York, that's good, that's good. Good to see some new work. But I would say that phrase, like with graffiti having no rules, is more of like, this is a freight we actually already saw in another episode, so I'm not gonna stop for it. I would say it's more related to like not letting other people tell you what kind of stuff you can and can't do, instead of ignoring artistic concepts, if that makes sense. Two dope exposed pieces here. Ran out of black at some point, probably. that's okay. I love pieces that do this and have a couple letters a different color and that kind of stuff. Love those Expos pieces. They're not exactly straight letters, but they're not exactly too stylized or font either. I think there's a lot of value in creating work like that, especially in a freight environment. That kind of lettering carries a lot of weight when you think of these freights being actually seen by people. Yeah, this specific line of hoppers is a little bit lighter on the moniker type stuff. We got Tento again. And although we have seen this sort of collab whole car, it's too good not to show again. Awesome piece right here by Hero. Just absolutely phenomenal. That's sort of one thing I would say with whole cars, like, it's great to do them, and of course it's a huge accomplishment when you get a certain number of them done or whatever, but I think there's also something to be said for at least trying to maintain a certain level of style within a whole car piece. Hero's piece back there is a prime example of that being done right, in my humble opinion, of course. I think it's awesome to see some style when something is that large. Got an awesome pyro piece here, Pyro 138, I suppose. This is another thing I mentioned sometimes, just about lettering basics for some of the newer writers here. You can tell with this pyro piece, here you have the P, and the midline is like well below. That wasn't the best way to show it, but there's a midline that's below center on this. So the top of the R is really big, top of the P is really big. The circular portion of the O lines up perfectly with the little dot on the R and the P as well. This Y, they've kept the top 2 points of the Y taking up most of the space. It's making sure there's equalities like that between your letters, which goes a long way towards just making a piece look real good instead of like complete trash. Like, it's something that seems like conceptually a very small difference, but it makes all the difference in the world. That's awesome. I don't think I've seen anything by whoever this is, actually. And I would also say one thing that you can actually do to specifically work on getting better at thinking of those artistic concepts is just have one in mind, whether this be like, you know, sketching somewhere in your black book, or if you have a nice little wall to paint, just have one concept in mind. More work from Root now, alongside Slush here. I've seen enough of their stuff together now that I think it's pretty clear they're probably into the same crew or something. Little tag in there. But back to what I was saying, just having one concept in mind that you want to try and take advantage of is a great way to make a piece afterwards, examine it. How successful were you at keeping that concept in mind? Because it will make the biggest difference, honestly. Like, that's the difference between beginners and just sort of like normal intermediate writers, just simple concepts like that. But this is probably the best thing we're gonna see today. Get ready for this, because it's gonna blow you away. Gorgeous helm whole car. I can't even fit it in the frame here. Yeah, awesome. Awesome. This to me is another like supreme example of making something huge and not forgetting the style, not leaving the style at the door when you're out to do a big piece. Yeah. Props to Helm for this. Yeah. Color scheme on point here. Nothing stronger than reds contrasted with some nice blues. That's dope. Slush piece, same thing, awesome. Really loving that. Yeah. Got an awesome chaos piece here as well. And a little Versa one. Nice. So I think the last few freights here are a little bit bare, so we're gonna call it here. If the next episode of our freight watching series is out, it'll be the first video linked on the end screen. You can check out that next episode. If it's not, either way, I'll put the playlist of all the other episodes up there as well. If you enjoyed this freight watching episode, if you found it entertaining, informative, maybe consider subscribing to see a few more of them. This is one of the many series we do here on the channel, so feel free to look around and check out the over 300 graffiti related videos we have here on the channel. And until my next one, peace.